Hare Krishna. Before we begin the session, let's offer our prayers to Prabhupada and Lord Krishna. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishnaya Bhutale Mate Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Ganadhara Vasadi Gauravakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Shri Shri Radha Vrindavan Chandrodaya Ki Shri Shri Nidai Gauranga Ki Srila Prabhupada Ki So we'll be continuing our discussions on a very one topic which we're discussing this last 2 weeks. Topic is the tiny world of modern science. So this is actually a few of his disciples in America when he was in a monk in Los Angeles. And then Prabhupada, when he was having morning walks with devotees, he used to discuss on various topics and give the spiritual insight for the things, for the topics which is being discussed. Vedic wisdom used to, like. So this wonderful topic, a lot of to how we should see the modern day science and scientific advancements or scientific temperament which people have. So let's move forward. So this whole discussion we are having is by inspiration of His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada, the founder Acharya of the Hare Krishna movement worldwide and also known as Iskcon. So in previous sessions, we discussed on topics like matter comes from life. This is in defiance to the common notion that life comes from matter, right? Because in our experience, we don't have any, say, understanding of matter giving generation or matter giving birth to any life, right? Some chemicals combine together and life is produced. There is no such example. So Prabhupada begins his conversation with his disciples with this one discussion point called matter comes from life. And Prabhupada also gave the Vedic perspective that matter is perishable and spirit is eternal. So what does this mean? Anything you take in our experience with regard to matter, it has, it comes into existence, it stays for some time, gradually it dwindles and it vanishes. Whereas with regard to our existence as spirit soul, we always have this strong feeling that yes, we are eternal, because spirit soul nature is that. Nature of spirit is Satchidananda. Satchidananda means eternal existence, full of knowledge and full of bliss. And if you carefully analyze our existence as spirit soul, we can see that we are actually minute gods or small gods, because we have so many right? So again, while in the course of discussion, he said that scientists say that the cause for life is the chemicals. Prabhupada pointed out to a dead tree while walking and showed, see, this dead tree has all the ingredients in it. So why don't you infuse some chemicals and again revive life in that? It is not possible, because the soul within that body has left the body. Prabhupada also give the example of apartment, wherein he said, as long as you stay in the apartment, that apartment, you are having residence, your residence there. But once you leave this apartment, it is vacant. Like how this body is also like a apartment. As long as the soul is within the body, this body is active and moving around. As soon as the soul is out of the body, this body becomes dead matter, right? So basically, scientists don't know that, rather they're missing this important point, that the origin of chemicals is not from anything, some permutation of combination of some ingredients or chemicals or elements, what we have experienced. Rather, origin of chemicals is from the spirit soul. Prabhupada give the example of a lemon tree. A lemon tree uh, um, produces so many oranges or how many lemons, and each lemon is having so much of citric acid in it, right? During seasons, the lemon tree is filled with thousands of lemons. So, because the tree is having that spirit soul, a tree is able to produce unlimited number of lemons, and those lemons are the are the source of chemicals. So scientists are lacking this particular understanding of where from the chemicals are originating. This point they are missing. So Prabhupada came to the point of explaining this is actually because of the mystic power in God and we, the living entities. There is something known as Achintya Shakti or inconceivable energy, mystic energy in God in the unlimited quantity, and we also have a very minute quantity. It's like from our body, nails grow, or from our body, hairs grow. How it is happening, we don't know, but it is happening. That is because we also have some limited mystic powers in our existence. So, like this, Prabhupada went on the discussions, and when the claim from scientists, because generally the devotees used to pose themselves as scientists and they used to put forward the argument, yeah, right now we're not able to find out what is the source, what is soul, and what is various aspects of mystic energies working. But future we are going to find out very soon. Very soon we will want to figure out what is the fact. So Prabhupada says, trust no future, however pleasant. Somebody is promising you to give you 10 crore rupees. In the future, I will give you. So Prabhupada says, okay, at least to show, to prove that you're going to give me some money, give me something in cash. At least give me 10 lakhs. At least I know that, oh, you're going to give me 10 crores. If you give me a post-dated check of 10 crores, later on, you can in cash. When? We don't know. So this unpredictability of way of working is something which Prabhupada always challenged, and he was telling this is the way the scientists work. And Prabhupada also gave the classic wonderful story of Dr. Frog's philosophy. A frog in a well and a frog in an ocean, when they had a conversation, the frog in a well had a limited understanding of its 3 by 3 feet well, and it didn't have the proper understanding of the whole vast ocean. So everything we would like to measure with our limited understanding. That is Frog's philosophy. Something which is not fitting in our understanding, our say scientific discovery, we try to deny that. That is actually wrong in one sense. So this is Dr. Frog's philosophy. And Prabhupada also explained to us how the present day of any system of understanding or knowledge is something known as inductive process. Inductive process means you research, you experiment, you figure out, you find out what is the ultimate fact, ultimate truth, or what is the what is that we're supposed to find out. Like this, you go on experimenting, researching, and never ending. Whereas deductive process is, or the descending process is, take the knowledge from authority. This is exactly what we do in our spiritual way of understanding knowledge. We don't concoct or we don't research, because we already have research knowledge. Just accept it. It will save so much of our time and we move forward in our understanding in a perfect way. So today, in our discussions, more of this particular principle will be discussed. And Prabhupada also brought the concept of what is known as energy and the energetic principle. right? It's like the sun is the energetic source, and from sun, so much of heat and sunlight is emanating. Energy is coming out. So when you say energy, there should be energetic source. So likewise, when you say material nature, we have to understand material nature is energy. So behind material energy, there is the source of that energy, which Bhagavad Gita Krishna very clearly says, he is that source. Right? And with this, Prabhupada started explaining about how the modern day science can be compared to the Sankhya system of philosophy in the Vedic times. The Sankhya basically means analyzing this whole material world into various elementary aspects. How this whole material world is made up of earth, water, fire, air, ether, the five gross elements, three subtle elements, mind, intelligence, ego, and there are 10 senses, five knowledge acquiring senses, eyes, ears, nose, tongue, and skin, and five working senses, hands, legs, mouth, genitals, and anus. So all this is coming to five gross elements, three subtle elements, 8, plus five working senses, five knowledge acquiring senses, it becomes 18. Then we have five sense objects. Every knowledge acquiring sense interacts with this sense object. It's like for the eyes, the light or the form is the sense object. For nose, smell is sense object. Any aromatic substance, will feel very good. Or sometimes stinking, smell will disturb you. For the ears, sound. For the tongue, it is taste. For skin, it is touch, touch sensation. It is called tanmatra or sense objects. So totally, we have 18 plus 5, 23. And one more, they say it is the source of this whole material energy. You can call it as Mahat-tattva. So this is their analysis. So that is where we were discussing in the previous session. From there, we'll take it forward. So, Prabhupada was comparing the modern science with the Sankhya philosophy. So Prabhupada says that actually they cannot, when Prabhupada said, do the scientists know where from these various elementary aspects are coming in this whole creation? So a devotee who's representing as a scientist, he says they cannot answer. Prabhupada says, but we can answer. We have the knowledge that gas comes from kham or ether, and ether comes from mind. Mind comes from intelligence. Intelligence comes from Krishna's superior energy, the spirit soul. Actually, it's like a series of cause and effects, which are the reason for how this material world is manifested. Very nicely, scientifically, detailed manner, vivid manner described in Bhagavad. Right? Scientists are lacking this understanding. Just assume or presume something and think something and move forward. That's what their way of working is. But the Bhagavatam explains how this gas or air has come. It's because of ether. And ether has come from mind. Mind has come from intelligence. Intelligence comes from Krishna's superior energy, spirit soul. Like this, the analysis goes on. So Prabhupada, one of the disciples is representing a scientist. He asks, are both inferior and superior energies studied in Sankhya philosophy? Prabhupada says, no. Sankhya philosophers do not know of superior energy. So basically, here, in this point of discussion, we have to understand one important thing, is that very clearly Krishna explains in Bhagavad Gita, the material elements, for that understanding, they are called inferior energy, apara prakriti. They are energy, of course. We are also energy, spirit, soul, but we are called superior energy or para prakriti. So, Prabhupada is trying to, the devotee is asking whether the scientists they're trying to analyze between the superior and inferior energies. Yeah. So, right? So Prabhupada says the Samkhya philosophers actually they also do not know about superior energy. At this point of time, I would like to mention here the Samkhya philosophy is the modern day metaphysics, in which they analyze material substances, material elementary aspects, and they don't have any understanding about beyond matter, right? Beyond this material world. Whereas the Sankhya Yoga system described in Srimad Bhagavatam by Lord Kapila, this goes beyond these 24 elements, what we just now discussed, and it explains that this all is emanating why because there is spirit soul within the body, and spirit soul is controlled by super soul, right? Like this, the analysis goes on. So this particular aspect of superior energy, Atma, Paramatma, consciousness is not described in the modern day Sankhya philosophy, metaphysics, or science. They simply analyze material things and just conclude that the combination of matter is producing life. So Prabhupada says the Sankhya philosophers do not know of the superior energy. They simply analyze the material elements just as the scientists do. Neither the scientists nor the Sankhya philosophers know anything of the spirit soul, because spirit soul is beyond our limited sense perception. They are simply analyzing Krishna's material energy. Right? This is what Lord Krishna explains in Bhagavad Gita. His material energy one is the inferior energy called matter, is 24 elements, and the superior energy called spirit soul. So they're only analyzing material energy of Lord Krishna. So now Prabhupada is going to discuss on a very wonderful topic called superior and inferior energies. So the disciple posing as a scientist, he asks a question. So scientists are analyzing the creative material elements. So Prabhupada corrects him. Material elements are not creative. The soul is creative. Very wonderful perspective. Because we think matter is producing everything. Matter has no creativity. Matter is dull. It has no symptoms of life. Creativity is only because of life entering that matter. Right? So Prabhupada says material elements have no creative power. The soul is creative. No one can create life with only matter, and matter cannot create itself. Again and again, Prabhupada is reiterating this point. Matter has no ability to create life. Very nice example Prabhupada gives. A living entity, can mix hydrogen and oxygen to create water. But matter itself has no creative energy. Right? Again, Prabhupada is repeating this. And he says, if you place a bottle of hydrogen near a bottle of oxygen, will they automatically combine without your help? In chemical laboratory, you just, so many chemicals are all there placed. Two chemicals on their own mix and start forming different combination of, molecules. No. So the disciple also acknowledges, no, they must be mixed. Yes, the superior energy, the living entity is required. Right? This is a very important point of discussion what we are having now. Unless there is a touch of superior energy, matter cannot move. Very important point. Oxygen and hydrogen are inferior energy, but when the superior energy mixes them, then they become water. So material elements on their own have no power to move or create. When spirit soul moves them, manipulates them, touches them, it only starts moving. A simple example of a car. Car may be parked in front of your house. It will stand like that for years together unless somebody goes inside and starts moving it. So inferior energy has no power unless superior energy is involved. Very wonderful point. Now, Prabhupada gives few examples. He's showing the Pacific Ocean because they are walking along the um, shore of the ocean. This sea is calm and quiet, but when superior force, air, pushes it, high waves are created. The sea has no power without the superior force. Right? The ocean is doing like in a very peaceful, calmly, it is having its waves coming and going. But there's a tornado or some cyclone, what happens? It becomes agitated. There's some air force coming, very big force of air coming. It will push the whole water body to a different type of agitation. Similarly, there is another superior force to the air, and another until we arrive at Krishna, the most superior force, that is real research. So when you see that the example of the ocean water only, where from this air is coming from? Krishna says the air, I am the source of air, earth, water, fire, air, ether. I am the source, which means you're trying to go to the, trying to find out the cause of a particular effect and its cause. But Prabhupada says this is real research, not simply stopping at one point and say, oh, this is what I'm seeing. Similarly, Prabhupada gives a very wonderful example, is a very classic example. Suppose a railroad is just starting to move. Railroad train is just starting to move. The engine pushes one car, which pushes another, and so on. And the entire train is moving. And the whole motion originates with the engineer, a living entity. Right? If you analyze why the bogie number 5 is moving, because bogie 4 is pulling. Bogie 4 is moving by because 3 is pulling. This engine is pulling everything, so all the bogies are moving. And how engine is working? Because the driver in the engine is operating it. As soon as the driver stops operating and comes out of the train will not move. So Prabhupada is going to bring out one more wonderful concept called how this whole cosmos, this whole material world is working under Lord Krishna. It is an important observation. As human beings, we are supposed to have when we are part of this material world right now. So how these things are happening around us? Sun is rising, moon is shining, air is blowing, right? Seasons are changing. So it's all happening on its own. No, there's somebody who is directing them. Similarly, in the cosmic creation, Krishna gives the first push. And then, by means of many successive pushes, the entire cosmic manifestation comes into being. Again, to go back to that previous example of train, right? Big train with engine moving forward. So Krishna is that personality who is pushing the button of the engine in this cosmic world. Right? Then everything, all the other engine starts and the other bogies, other things successively, it goes on. So Prabhupada says, in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna explains this, 9th chapter, Maya Dhyakshena Prakriti Suyate Sacharacharam. This material nature is working under my direction, O son of Kunti, and is producing all moving and unmoving beings. This whole material world is working under Krishna's direction. See, so nicely it's explained in the Bhagavad Gita. The world around you is called material nature. Prakriti, Maya. Just like people say, oh, so nice, nature. Yes, what is this nature? Nature is working under Krishna's direction. It is producing all moving and unmoving beings. Yes, see. The unmoving beings like mountains, tree, and so many other aspects in the creation, what we are seeing. And a little later in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Sarva yonishu kaunteya, murtaya sambhavantiyaha, tasam brahma mahad yonir aham bija pratapita. All species of life are made possible by birth in the material nature, and I am the seed-giving father. Very clear. Lord Krishna is, very nicely telling that I am the source of all living entities. First he says in the 9th chapter of Bhagavad Gita that he is controlling the material nature. Everything is going on under his direction. And next he says, he is the source of all living entities. He is the father of all living entities, seed-giving father. For example, if you sow a banyan tree, banyan seed, a huge tree eventually grows up and produces millions of new seeds. Right? Every tree, the seed has that potency because spirit soul in that seed will produce a big tree, and from that so many other seeds come. That's how Krishna has created this world. Right? From Lord Krishna, the soul has come out, and the soul has creative power. Each of these seeds, in turn, produces another tree with millions of new seeds, and so on. Right? So Krishna's way of working is so wonderful that he only has to have one push at one point, and everything else he has made so systematically, so nicely, wonderfully, things are going on. It looks as though we only see some immediate causes and we don't see the remote cause, which is actually hidden from our vision. That's the whole problem. Right now, our understanding is limited. Why? Because we are not seeing the remote cause. We are seeing the immediate cause. This point we'll discuss now, very soon. So Krishna is the original seed-giving father. So with this, we come to this wonderful aspect, what is known as immediate cause and the remote cause. Unfortunately, the scientists only observe the immediate cause. They do not perceive the remote cause. That's why we're discussing how we just see, oh, this has happened because of this. But what has caused this? Right? That is the next level of understanding. Simply seeing immediately some effect of a particular aspect is not a sign of intelligence. So Prabhupada says there are two causes: immediate cause and remote cause. In the scriptures it is mentioned, Vedas it is mentioned, Krishna is described in the Vedas as Sarva Karana Karanam, the cause of all causes. If you want to know what is the cause of this, it's like we analyze the example of a train and with all the bogies, engine. What is the reason for bogie 5 moving? Because bogie 4 is pulling. Why 4 is pulling? Because bogie 3 is pulling it. Like this, you come to engine. Why engine is moving? Because the operator or the person, human being, driver is pushing the button. So Krishna is that driver who gives the first push. He's called Sarva Karana Karanam, the cause of all causes. If you understand the cause of all causes, then you understand everything. This is what the Vedic statement says. There's a nice statement called Kasmin no Bhagavato Sarvam Idam Vijnatam Bhavati. If you know the original cause, the latter subordinate causes automatically know. Oh, from there everything is coming. He is the source. Right? Say, for instance, in a city, one big businessman has having so many different businesses going on under different names. But you go on, you start finding out whose business is this, whose business is this. You can only come to know, oh, these 30 types of businesses are run by one person. He's the cause. Otherwise, you're thinking this separate, this separate, this separate. You don't see Krishna's hand otherwise. Oh, sun is independent, moon is independent, air is independent, everything is going on its own, no connection. This is not a proper way of analyzing things, right? So very clearly, the scriptures say, original cause is Krishna, and from him everything is emanating. Although the scientists are searching after the original cause, when the Vedas, which contain perfect knowledge, give the original cause, they won't accept. This is the unfortunate situation. Vedas are very clearly telling the cause of all causes is Krishna. And scientists are also researching to find the original cause. We are giving you knowledge, but you don't want to take. Very unfortunate. They keep to their partial, imperfect knowledge. That's the problem. So, Prabhupada further says, what is the problem with the scientists? They're very proud with their little knowledge. Mm. So there's one more discussion which goes on now. The disciple who is posing a scientist asks, scientists are worried about energy sources, and now they are working to utilize solar energy for cooking, lighting, and various other purposes. They are hoping that when they exhaust all of the energy sources, they'll be able to use solar energy. That's what their way of discussion now is. Even now, I think you can see same way of say seeing things is going on, right? They want to use solar energy, natural resources, right? Because when everything is over, when diesel is over, petrol is over, other fuels are over, at least we have natural resources like sunlight, wind, right? That people are even now discussing. So Prabhupada says it's not a new theory, not a very new theory. Why? Because everyone knows that because the roots of the tree store the sun's energy, it is possible to get fire from a tree. Right? So the roots actually store solar energy. That's why the whole tree is having that fire element in it. These scientists are tiny creatures, but they are very proud. Right? They pose themselves, I have done something, I have discovered, I am the one who have found out this. Prabhupada says, we don't give them credit because they are simply stating what everyone knows. As soon as you cut a tree, you cannot get fire from it. It has to be dried in the sun because it has moisture and it has to, it has to dry up. When the energy is gathered from the sun, the tree can be utilized for fire. So actually, everything is being maintained by the sun's energy, but the scientists don't know where the sun's energy comes from. See, this is what so nicely. This is how the Vedic way of approach is. Vedic way of approach doesn't is not a stagnant way of understanding. Okay, this much is because of this. Oh, that's all. Knowledge is complete. No, it is incomplete knowledge. Why this is happening? Why does this happen? Next, what is the cause of this? Okay, because of this is happening. Why that is happening? This is the sign of intelligence. So, Prabhupada is saying, actually, sun is maintaining the whole existence. But the modern scientists don't know where from the sun's energy is coming from. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Yad aditya gatam tejo jagat bhasyate akhilam yat chandramasi yat chagno tat tejo vidhi mamakam. 15th chapter, Krishna says, the splendor of the sun, which dissipates the darkness of this whole world, comes from me. And the splendor of the moon and the splendor of the fire are also from me. You see, very clear statement in Bhagavad Gita. The sun's splendor means its heat and light is coming from Krishna. Moon's shine is coming from Krishna. And the fire elements, heat and light is coming from Krishna. Which means Lord Krishna, source of everything, is very clearly and abundantly declared in Bhagavad Gita again and again by Krishna himself. Nobody can say this in the world. Oh, sun is shining because of my power. No. Krishna has that authority to say because he is that personality from whom everything is emanating. So again, in the 10th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Jyotisham Ravir Amshuman, of lights I am the radiant sun. See, very simple things are mentioned in Bhagavad Gita and so obvious things. Of lights I am the radiant sun, Krishna says. And again, the 11th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna tells Arjuna, Krishna Shashi Surya Netram. Sorry, Arjuna tells Krishna, glorifying Krishna. Shashi Surya Netram. The sun and the moon are among your great unlimited eyes. The same thing Brahmaji also says. He says, Yat Chakshuresh Savita, Chakshuresha Savita means Savita, the sun is the eyes of sun, eyes of Lord Krishna, Govinda. So, sun and the moon are Krishna's eyes, unlimited eyes. This knowledge is contained in the Bhagavad Gita, but scientists cannot attain this knowledge by their speculation. Right? So you go on researching where from sun is emanating so much light. How much you will research? You cannot even approach sun. So, right? So the point is, the inductive process is of no avail, of not going to give you proper understanding. The deductive understanding of what Krishna is telling, the descending knowledge, authorized knowledge, we should accept. Right? By speculation, you go on trying to figure out truth of this world. This will never give you understanding. Just you'll see immediate cause and just don't know what is beyond that. So the scientists, disciple acknowledges, yes, it is not possible, and they cannot find out what is the truth. So Prabhupada clarifies, knowledge from Krishna is perfect. How it is perfect? Why we should accept this knowledge? Prabhupada would explain to us. So, what is their knowledge? The scientists, the scriptures say that even if you counted all the grains of sand on earth, you still would not be able to understand God. The statement in the scriptures is mentioned that if you have counted all the grains of sand, whatever the number comes, you mean to say you're going to understand God, or you count all the particles of water, you are able to find out who is God? No. Which means you go on, this basically statement is trying to give us the understanding that you go on analyzing anything in the material world to whatever extent you want. With that research work, you cannot find out God. That's the point. All these material counting does not mean that we have the capacity to understand the unlimited. But it is even beyond their capacity to count all the material things. Right? Forget about knowing about what you have, what you know actually know. But there are so many things in the material world also which you are not even aware. Many things. Right? There's so many dense forests in different parts of the world which nobody has explored those places, or deep inside the sea. So things are very intricate and complex, and we think, oh, we know everything. That is foolishness. That is called Dr. Frog's philosophy. Dr. Frog only knew about 3 by 3 feet well, and he says, oh, I know everything. From this, I judge everything. That is the way of vision you have. Then it is limiting your understanding. So Prabhupada is telling, the scientists have limitation of their understanding and knowledge. Why are the scientists so proud of their energy and capacities? They do not even know of the material things, and what to speak of the spiritual. The scientists don't even know about matter around them properly. What they will speak about spiritual aspects. As far as scientists and other living entities are concerned, their knowledge is limited. So, but this is not so for Krishna. If you receive knowledge from Krishna, that knowledge is perfect. Here we have to importantly understand one point with regard to how when you talk about our human limitation is with regard to having imperfection in our existence. There are 4 imperfections. First imperfection is called that we commit mistakes. To err is human. Right? Second imperfection is our senses are limited and imperfect. They cannot have complete understanding of everything all the times. Third imperfection is we are under illusion. And the fourth imperfection is we have a cheating propensity. These are the 4 imperfections from Brahma down to all the living entities in the entire creation. Right? So Prabhupada says here very clearly, very nicely, Krishna is beyond these imperfections, and his perfect personality, when you receive knowledge from the perfect personality, that knowledge is perfect. In the scriptures, we receive information that there are 900,000 species of life existing within the ocean. Jalaja Navalakshani. Navalaksha means 9 lakh aquatics are there in the water bodies, scriptures say. The information given in the scriptures is exact because it comes from Lord Krishna. Scriptures are knowledge coming from Krishna directly. They are not any concocted or written by some person, some human being. No. They are called Aparushaya. Aparushaya means they are directly coming from Supreme Lord, who is transcendental personality. So Krishna gives this understanding in the Bhagavad Gita. As the Supreme Personality of Godhead, I know everything that has happened in the past, all that is happening in the present, and all things that are yet to come. Which means Krishna is telling, I know the past, present, future. That is the meaning of all perfect. In our case, we don't even know what has happened in our past life. Forget about past life. What happened exactly this time, few days ago, we don't remember. And what is going to happen to me in the future, tomorrow, next moment, no idea. This is our present understanding or our knowledge. And we are boasting ourselves as, oh, we know everything. All knowing or perfect person who knows everything means he knows everything from past, present, future. That is Krishna's position. So herein Prabhupada is going to tell us how to receive this perfect knowledge. So the scientist disciples of knowledge is, yes, we have to take knowledge from the supreme knower because he is perfect. Prabhupada says, yes, for perfect knowledge, we have to approach a superior person, a guru. A guru is that personality who is having the complete knowledge of Krishna, of the perfect personality. Prabhupada gives example. One may try to learn a subject by reading books at home, but he can learn much better by going to college and approaching a professor. Right? When you take knowledge from a person who's already aware or already he's experienced in that, it is much easier to receive the understanding. Otherwise, you go on experimenting, researching, figuring out, not easy. Right? It is always, or rather, this is the only best way, process, to take knowledge from an experienced person. In the same way, we have to approach a guru. Of course, if we encounter a false guru, our knowledge is false. Right? Nowadays, there are so many so-called gurus posing themselves as gurus, which is actually misleading. But we have to be careful and approach the right guru or the bona fide guru. But if our guru is perfect, our knowledge is perfect. How to receive perfect knowledge is what Prabhupada is talking now. If we accept Krishna as our guru, if he is perfect in knowledge, our knowledge is also perfect. Okay? Krishna is always perfect. So when we take knowledge from Krishna, that is the perfect knowledge. As far as we are concerned, we do not have to be perfect in ourselves, but if we receive knowledge from the perfect, our knowledge is perfect. It's a very important principle because we ourselves may not be perfect. But because the source of knowledge, what we are getting, is perfect, so we are also perfect. It's like a child doesn't know that this is a table. But the father says that this is table, the child repeats. So the knowledge of child is perfect. We cannot say that we understand that there are 900,000 species of life in the ocean because we have studied the entire ocean. Scriptures are saying there are 9 lakh species. So if the scientists say, oh, we also will go on researching in all the different water bodies, oceans, seas, and find out how many are there. Right? But that we cannot do. Right? That's the inductive process or the research process, which is not perfect. Rather, we say that we take this information from scriptures and therefore it is perfect. This is the Vedic process. Basically, Prabhupada is trying to explain that inductive, deductive process, the ascending process and descending process. The Vedic process is take knowledge from the authorities. Avoid confusion, because we have our own imperfections in our existence. Prabhupada is further explaining about this, how our senses are right now imperfect. Scientists may carry out much research work, but however great a scientist may be, his senses are imperfect. Right? Whatever we do with these senses, these various instruments, what we have, they're all imperfect. How it is so? Prabhupada is explaining here. Therefore, he cannot have perfect knowledge. Whatever we do, because our senses are imperfect, the knowledge what we tell that, oh, I have discovered this, I have found out this, is also imperfect. And what is the value of our eyes? We cannot see without sunlight. nor can we see small things without a microscope. Right? Our eyes are having limitation. If there's darkness everywhere, what you can see? You cannot see anything. And very small things, no, I cannot see. Very distant things, cannot see. So I have my own limitations with regard to eyes, having that proper vision with a specific distance and specific other arrangements. Our eyes are imperfect, and the instruments our eyes have discovered are also imperfect. Right? That is the point. Basically, when you claim I am perfect, it is not a proper statement with regard to ourselves. How then is it possible to get perfect knowledge? Because the living entity is limited, his knowledge is also limited. A child may know that 2 plus 2 equals 4, but when he speaks of higher mathematics, we do not take him seriously. Right? A child is just having elementary mathematics. Right? But if when he starts speaking something else, which is not not even his understanding or his domain, which is we know that he is speaking nonsense. Right? We'll just don't take him seriously. Similarly, Prabhupada is there indirectly hinting. Scientists may speak so many things, but things which is beyond their understanding, if they start speaking, we don't take them seriously. The senses through which a scientist acquires knowledge are limited and imperfect. Therefore, his knowledge is limited and imperfect. It is an important point of understanding because we may claim, oh, I have done the perfect thing, I've discovered the right thing. But again and again, you'll be improving on those things further and further, and you get newer things in your discovery and experiments. So in that way, what we know right now is one level of understanding with regard to the modern science. Whereas the science of understanding given by Krishna and Bhagavad Gita is a perfect science. It's a timeless wisdom which is going to stand before the test of ages to come, and is going to be fact. Like Prabhupada says, one nice example he gives with regard to the sun is rising now, and it is rising and setting. It's emitting so much of heat and light. This was happening even millions of years ago. It's a fact. Similarly, as spirit souls, we are going through cycle of birth, death, old age, disease. Nothing new. This was happening millions of years ago. It's going on now. Even now. This is a fact described in Bhagavad Gita. So all these things we have to accept accordingly. Not that we go on speculating and trying to figure out things and wanting to know things on our own. That's the point. In his ignorance, he may claim to know everything, but this is simply nonsense. Right? Prabhupada's going to explain one more wonderful aspect in this regard, how our knowledge is so imperfect. In fact, the many laws, what are there, many different aspects, principles working in the material world, it's all Lord made, Krishna made. Right? Krishna made the law of gravity, but scientists claim, oh, we have discovered it, we have found out. We only found out. Prabhupada says, a blind man may lead another blind man, but does it avail them when they both fall into a ditch? But what does it avail them? Right? You don't know the proper understanding, but I'm following you. You go and fall into a big hole, and I am also just following you. Both of us are in a big trouble. The laws of nature bind us hand and foot. Yet we think we are free to speculate. This is illusion. Okay. So this is a very important point we have to contemplate upon. We are strictly governed by the very let's say cruel laws of nature. We are bound by hand and foot. Yet, if we are thinking that we are free, oh, I can do this, I can do that. No, that is illusion, Prabhupada says. That is simply you are thinking that way. Although conditioned by so many ways, so many of nature's laws, the rascals, they think they are free. This is their situation, which is actually not so. So this is the point Prabhupada is trying to make here, that We are conditioned by so many nature's laws, but we think that we are free. That is our ignorance, foolishness. Yet, if there is a cloud, they cannot see the sun. What power we have to see? A cloud covers our vision and we can't see the sun. And we say, oh, we are perfect, which means our imperfect senses are such that we can't even see things properly. Only when nature's laws gives us some facility, we're able to see. Right? So like this, indeed, we can only experiment under certain conditions, and if the conditions are not favorable, our experiments fail. So many ifs and buts and perhaps and maybe like this we go on in our life, as though and doing all those things we think I am perfect. Prabhupada is trying to point out that whatever you are doing, you try to understand it is only your doing permutation combination of existing things only, not that you have found out something or figured out something. Why then are we so proud of experimental knowledge? Right? So many conditions are required to be fulfilled before you successful in any experiment. Prabhupada says, why experiment, first of all? Things are already there. Just take knowledge from the authentic sources. The sun's energy is there, given by God for us to use. What else is there to know? So many apples fall from trees. What further need is there to explain the law of gravity? Which means you have found out or rather discovered the law of gravity and you make so many formulations from that and trying to say, boast yourself that as though I have discovered it and I have found out this is how it is, working. So Prabhupada says already things are happening. That's how the nature is. Apples are falling, whether apples know that there is a law of gravity or no, apples do fall. Right? So Prabhupada says, what need is there to explain the law of gravity? Actually, the scientists are lacking in common sense. They are simply concerned with scientific explanations because they want to boast themselves that I have discovered this, I have done this, I have found out this, I'm going to get this Nobel Prize for this. That's how it is. They say the law of gravity works only under certain conditions, but who has made those conditions? It's the question we have to ask. You are taking so much of pride in describing law of gravity, but please recognize, acknowledge the creator of this law of gravity. That's what Prabhupada wanted to say. When Krishna appeared as Lord Ramchandra, he threw stones in the water and stones floated. Even the law of gravity was defied. Krishna came as Lord Ramchandra. Right? The law of gravity did not work in that case. Right? So, therefore, the law of gravity works only under the direction of the Supreme Lord. The law in itself is not final. A king may give a law, but he can change that law immediately. Right? The king is beyond all the laws, in one sense, because he can he is a lawgiver. So Krishna is the lawgiver. He can change the laws. The law of gravity did not function when Lord Ramachandra threw stones with the help of monkeys in the ocean. They all floated. So the point is, what Prabhupada is trying to make is that we may boast of doing that and this, and we have discovered and we have made wonderful inventions, all these things, but thing is, acknowledge that the Lord is sanctioning it, and if Lord wants, he can destroy anything anytime. The ultimate lawgiver is Krishna, and the law will only work by his will. That's the point. Right? We may boast of building big cities and having big highways and so many things, but if Lord wills, nothing will function, nothing will happen. Right? Scientists try to explain God's will in so many ways, but because they are conditioned by Maya, illusion, they can only talk like a person haunted by a ghost. A ghostly haunted person will only talk nonsense. Right? He will not recognize it will not make any sense. That's how it is. Nonsense. So Prabhupada is asking, tell me, what is the scientific explanation that accounts for all the varieties of trees? So we will conclude here. Already we are running out of time. So basically, Prabhupada is trying to explain to all of us through these wonderful conversations with his disciples that scientists limit their vision, their understanding to one extent with regard to what they see and what they perceive. And they think or they take pride. They become very arrogant. Oh, we have found out this, we have discovered this. They never acknowledge that you may have discovered, but who has created it? Under whose law it is working? Even your existence as a human being is all there because you are part and parcel of Krishna. So Prabhupada is trying to make us understand we have to go to the basics of everything. We have to get into the understanding of what is that me causing to work like this? Where from my intelligence is coming? Which I'm thinking it is mine. So like this, when you go into basics of things, that will make you humble and submissive. Otherwise, being proud, arrogant, or puffed up, like Dr. Frog, then it will not help us in our spiritual life. It will only further entangle us. That is the reason for our material life. The false ego, the falsity that I am a big man, I'm a very big person, I'm intelligent person, I can figure out things, I can do things on my own. I will find out things how to say that I will not die, I'll cure these diseases. These aspects, there's no question of submissiveness and understanding that this creation of the Lord and Lord willing, if it doesn't happen, nothing can work out. The nice statement Prabhupada makes from one of our acharyas. He says, Mare Krishna Rakhe Krishna Mare. If Krishna wants somebody to die, nobody can protect him. And if Krishna wants to save somebody, no force in the material world can kill him. This is how this is all. So basically, scientists are missing this aspect of, or lacking this understanding of, behind every aspect, every working of this material world, there is Supreme Lord's sanction, His will, and His involvement in every aspect of various interactions here. So we'll discuss more in our next session, concluding session, and understand about the subject more. So I'll conclude here. Anybody has anything to discuss, comment before we close for today?
Prabhuji.
Yes, Gupta ji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Could you kindly repeat those four imperfections of human beings?
Okay. The four imperfections of human being is, first is called to commit mistakes. To err is human. Right? Even everybody you can see in the material world, I did a mistake. Sorry, I committed a mistake. Oh, I would have done like this. So committing mistakes is something which is very much part of our life now. We commit mistakes. We don't do anything perfectly. Right? Second one is called imperfect senses. We understood example how our senses, with regard to our eyes, we bring example. Eyes cannot see when there is no sunlight or there is no light source of anything we cannot see. Very distant things we cannot see, very close things we cannot see. Which means our every sense has a limitation with regard to perceiving things. Just like it is said, with regard to our ears, we have a specific frequency of sound we can hear. There are animals who can hear frequencies which is much beyond your frequencies, what you can perceive. Our eyes can see specific electromagnetic or other, they can perceive specific electromagnetic frequencies, which means our senses are limited. Right? It has, it is having limitations with regard to its way of functioning. With so many, it's like a phenomenal it is. Not that it is all that I cannot sit in front of you, I can see behind also. No, I have to turn my head behind, only that I can see. Right? So likewise, we commit mistakes, our senses are imperfect. Thirdly, we are an illusion. Illusion means we accept something else to be something else.
Right.
And just like we are accepting, we are in darkness and we are holding a rope and thinking I'm holding a snake. Mm-hmm. Right? So which means we are accepting false things as facts. It's like the biggest illusion what we are living now is, I'm thinking I'm this body.
Right.
Right? I'm not the body, I'm spirit soul. Brahman, Aham Brahmasmi. So this is the biggest illusion. Illusion means what is not factual, which is something which is imaginary. Your thing, that is what I am.
Right.
That is illusion. All of us are an illusion. And fourthly, we have a cheating propensity. Like Prabhupada is openly, throughout this conversation, is pointing out the cheating propensity of scientists. They pose themselves as having perfect knowledge. I am perfect. They are very proud of their discoveries. But they are not acknowledging the discovery what I am making. The strength with which I am trying to do this is Krishna given, Lord given. And whatever I have discovered is again Lord's creation. There is no sense of acknowledgement. That is cheating.
Right.
This is openly cheating. So when you have, or rather you have taken help from somebody with regard to whatever work you're doing, acknowledging and thanking them is a part of our human etiquette and culture. That you don't do, and you take all the credit and boast yourself and tell, I am the one who have done everything. That is wrong. Cheating.
Very true.
That is the point. So there are four things: to commit mistakes, imperfect senses, to be an illusion, and fourth is cheating propensity. This is what is our existence, our life is with every one of us.
Right.
That's why our knowledge is imperfect.
Right.
What we speak as knowledge to others is also imperfect. But when we repeat what Krishna has told us, what the Acharyas have told us, that is perfect. Even though I am perfect, that knowledge is perfect. Okay? Clear?
Thank you. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. So let's close now. Thank you, everyone.